I don't know if you're ready for all this. Hello! I just washed up on the shore. Don't I look like I've washed up on the shore? I'm so excited for this because I've been thinking about this show since it came out in 2005. It was called Flight 29 Down, and it was on Discovery Kids, which I feel like only the real ones know about Discovery Kids. It was basically like Lost, but for kids. It came out not too long after Lost started, so I'm just assuming that they got the idea from that, but in my opinion, it may be better. I've watched like 4 episodes of Lost, so I don't know. But it is so good. Even watching it as an adult, I rewatched the entire series. It's still held up, in my opinion. It has all of your favorite things from a survival show, aka survival. Love triangles, betrayals, all the tea. We get all the tea in this show. It's basically a show about 7 kids, actually 11 people, but we've got 7 main characters. They're going on a school field trip type thing, and their plane crashes on an island in the South Pacific. So they are stranded on this island. We're gonna break this down for y'all because this show, there's so much happening here. My background, okay, season 1, episode 1, Arrival. So the show opens with them on this plane, and they're all goofing around, you know, they're teens, they're just chilling, goofing around, and immediately they get into a crash. They wake up, or they're already awake. Not a scratch, not one singular scratch. We're gonna get bored to him, obviously, but my guy Jackson, all he wanted to do was listen to music and serve face, but he had to get in this plane crash, I guess. They're all acting like this crash is more of a, like an annoyance, like a slight inconvenience for them. They're like, man, like, just got in a plane crash, like, okay. The CGI in 2005 was not top notch, of course, but I thought, I mean, the plane, it was kind of everything. The CGI, you know, we didn't know that it wasn't a real plane. But once they get onto the island, they use a real plane. They get on the island and they're having to like figure out what to do. And the first thing they decide to do is get the plane from the shore so that it doesn't wash away, because they want someone, if they're flying over, if a ship comes by, for them to see the plane and be like, what happened there? Hello? And that idea was from Lex, who is the smart boy. He's like, well, actually, he's like that kid. He's like the little brother of Daly, or her stepbrother, and he's the smart one of the group. The older kids, they are too caught up in the drama of it all, which we love as an audience, but the side of you that's like, y'all need to actually survive here and not worry about who likes who, but we love it though. Season 1, episode 2, The Quest for Fire. These titles will give away a lot about the episodes. So they immediately, like right after they get on this island, they're like, we're gonna start making video diaries. They have a camera and a bunch of those little tapes. This was 2005, so they have those little, they look like cassette tapes, but they're like tiny. But Melissa, she's like, don't waste the battery, okay? Don't waste the battery. And I'm like, so y'all are planning on making these video diaries on one battery because you're not able to charge your batteries? Like, I don't know. But I would be doing the same thing, like YouTuber vibes. I'm starting to vlog the second that happens. They're of course on a quest for fire. So Melissa, she gets the job of finding matches to see if they have any matches to start a fire before it gets dark. So she finds some matches. There are so many decisions in this show, but I have to remember it's more believable because they're teens. They're like really young. I'd say they're like 16, 15, 16. But she goes swimming in the ocean with the matches in her pocket. Okay. And it was because someone was like, you don't know how to have fun. Like, Melissa, you're just like so like, you don't know how to have fun, even though we just crashed on this island and we don't know how long we'll be here, but you don't know how to have fun. And she's like, I do. No, I do. So she goes in the ocean. She's like, I know how to have fun. Actually, I just ruined our chance of having a fire. But anyway, okay, let's introduce the crew. So there were actually 11 of them, but these are the main 7. We have Melissa. She's reliable, bubbly. She's one of my favorites. All of the characters get annoying at points, but it's in a like realistic, like you're 15, you're annoying me. And we have Daly. She's the leader. She's very serious. She's confident, headstrong. Then we have Eric. My man Eric. Okay. This was Nathan's words, not mine, and I couldn't find any better way to describe him than funny, strange. Then we have Taylor. She's like the popular girly. She's like, ew, water, gross, like, ew, we can't shower, I need shampoo. In the first season, she kind of reminds me of like the stepmom from Parent Trap. She ends up being probably my favorite character on the show, which I would not, me watching episode 2 of this show would not have ever thought that. She has the most character development, I think, out of all of them. Love Taylor. Then we have Jackson, who, he's the cool, mysterious guy. Like, he's the new kid in school. He's just like this all the time, which I love. I love that vibe. Then we have Lex, who I mentioned is the smart kid. He is Daly's little stepbrother. And then of course there's the pilot, but we don't know anything about this man. We really don't know anything about him. Then we have Nathan. In at least like the first chunk of the show, I would say he's like the main character. He is played by the Corbin Blue. Okay. He's also a leader. He's very much like Daly, but like the guy version. This was like during High School Musical time. So he was, wow. I cannot imagine how amazing that time was for him. So let's get back to the story, but Jackson actually ended up having a lighter and not telling anyone till the end of the episode, which was like diabolical because Daly has leeches and they're like, we need a way to burn these leeches off, and he's like they don't know I have a lighter. Like, they're all so petty. Season 1, episode 3. It's lonely at the top. This is where I start thinking Nathan and Daly are giving enemies to lovers. They're giving enemies to lovers. They're like butting heads this whole time, and I'm like, I've seen way too many movies. There's gonna be some love interest there. But this show, like, the editing is actually makes this show so much better. Like, there are a lot of funny moments that I think were on purpose, and there's no laugh track or anything because I don't know whether there'd be a laugh track on here.
Tapes are in the plane. Don't waste the battery. We only have one, okay? Don't waste the battery.
Okay. I heard you the first time. What, do you think I'm an idiot?
Don't waste the battery.
Nathan is trying to get these coconuts from this tree. He is trying his best to get these coconuts, and it's pretty much to just prove a point to everyone. Like, he's just trying to prove a point that he can get food, and he wants to become the leader of the group. So he is climbing up the highest tree, and of course these trees, they're just like, there's no like there's nothing to grab onto. So he is trying to just climb up this tree. He falls out. Sir, do you think I just fell out of a coconut tree? And of course Lex finds a solar powered charger so they can charge all of their batteries. So that's how they keep up with the video diaries throughout the whole show. So as I said, he's trying to become the leader, Nathan is, and Daly is really trying to become the leader. But they end up voting, and Jackson becomes the leader. Like, that was kind of a plot twist to me because I thought they were gonna vote for Lex, the little boy, as the leader. But I'm glad they were smarter than that, because he's really smart, but he's also like a child. So I'm glad they didn't put him in charge. Season 1, episode 4, Not a Drop to Drink. This is day 2. So each episode is like not a day. It's kind of spread out, kind of weird. For a moment, before we get too far into this, we have to talk about the theme song. It's perfect. No notes. And Nathan will not be quiet about the fact that he was a Boy Scout. So he's like, I've got to be the leader because I was a Boy Scout. And he's like, I know how to survive on a deserted island because I was a Boy Scout. And we're like, okay, we get it. If you said you were Corbin Blue, then we'd be like, oh yes, lead us, Corbin. But someone has been stealing water. So they have like bottles of water, but not much. I didn't mention that the pilot and the rest of the kids are like, we're gonna go in the jungle and see if there's anything in there. Bye, y'all. Bye. They like immediately went. They weren't even gonna wait out there for a day. So they're gone. We don't know what's happening with them. The rest, like the main characters, really don't seem too concerned with them, honestly. But guess who stole the water? Eric. Strike 1 out of 800 on this show for Eric. Eric only thinks about Eric. Okay. He's like, every man for himself. I'm like, they would eat you if this wasn't a children's Discovery Kids show. But Daly and Eric end up finding an underground spring with an endless supply of water. So that's where they're going to get their water from now on, hopefully. And Lex ends up getting like a little MP3 player, and they're playing it on like the plain speakers of this MP3 player. Which is like, they have their priorities straight. Like, he's like, I'm gonna get this MP3 player working. I'm doing the serious work here. Season 1, episode 5, A Fish Story. Melissa sees Jackson hunting for fish, and she's like, oh, okay. Like, she's smitten with Jackson. She is like, he's out there hunting for us? Okay. See you, Jackson. And she is smitten with this man. And Nathan and this coconut tree, it will not end. They have beef. You think he fell out of a coconut tree? He did.
That means I gotta return to the scene of the crime. Gotta suck it up and gotta go back to face.
So Jackson keeps trying to catch fish, and he's getting these mysterious notes throughout the episode, and they're giving him tips on how to catch fish. And it turns out that it's Taylor, the like popular girl, giving him notes on how to fish. So I guess she was like embarrassed that she knew how to fish, but she says that her and her dad used to go fishing all the time, so she knew how to fish. But this show is like, it's literally like Lost, because they all have secrets, but they're just not as dark. Season 1, episode 6, The Pits. It's day 4. We find out that Taylor and Nathan are exes. Yeah. I didn't expect that one. That was also a twist. Taylor, of course, she's not doing enough work. She's just like laying out. She's like, ew, I don't want to lug water back and forth. Like, I don't want to make a fire. Like, I'm not catching fish, even though I know how to fish, and like, I would probably do it. And everyone's like mad at her for it, of course. But the cuts between scenes in this show are so good, because the episodes are only like 20 minutes. But they're like, you're not gonna forget certain moments. We will not let you forget. So it always like cuts to a certain scene and like plays it a bunch of times. Nathan falling out of that coconut tree, like, we will not forget Nathan and that coconut tree. So Daly, because Taylor isn't doing work, she's like, you're gonna dig us a latrine. So she builds their bathroom. She digs up their bathroom, actually. Nathan, because he's a Boy Scout, makes a distress kite, but he accidentally shoots it down with a flare gun, and it like catches on fire. And this was really the first jaw-dropping moment of this show where I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, what is happening here? This is when it starts to get like a little bit real. Like, it's not super real yet, but like it starts to get real. Of course, after all that happens, we have a cute moment between Nathan and Daly, and they're cutie. The song that's playing while they're talking is Collide. You and I collide. Every single song they pick for this show, they're few and far between, but they are actually perfect song choices.
It's not sunburn.
What?
Your fully red splotches. I've seen that before. It's some kind of allergic reaction. You putting stuff on it?
After sun lotion.
You know, I bet if you stop using that stuff, it'll clear right up.
Season 1, Episode 7, The Cry of the Wolf. So it's day 5. Melissa is making her video diary, and she confesses that she likes Jackson. We knew, sis. It's okay. And Eric hears it. Nathan has a rash. That's like a side thing, but it's like a bad rash. Like, he is not okay. This is like humbling for all of them. Like, they're actually going through some stuff here. Eric blackmails Melissa with this information and gets her to do his job lugging water back and forth. I would say Eric is mean. I know that's a serious word, but he is mean. So Lex finds some shellfish for them to eat, but it turns out that Eric is allergic. And like, he actually almost dies, but Melissa saves him, even after all that he did to her. She's being the bigger person. Season 1, Episode 8, Survival of the Fittest. So it's day 6, and the pilot and the other kids are still gone. Like, we don't know where they are, what happened to them. There's no contact with them. And they said that they would be gone for 2 days. No one has mentioned anything. Melissa accidentally wears one of Taylor's tops, and she accidentally like burns it, and Taylor is like so upset too. So Eric shows Taylor the tape where Melissa is confessing her feelings for Jackson, and Taylor plays the tape over the loudspeaker that I spoke of earlier, that they made a loudspeaker for everyone to hear music and stuff, for everyone to hear. And it was actually a cruel moment. So everyone hears it, everyone finds out.
He seems, I don't know, troubled. But he's gotta open up someday, and when he does, I hope it's with me. I guess it's obvious I like him. But I'd never tell him. No way, that would make things too weird. But when we get off this island, I'm gonna let him know how I feel.
So Melissa runs away because she's like so embarrassed. She's like on this cliff. It's not funny. And there's this moment of CGI that you just have to witness for yourself. And then Taylor goes to look for her, and she also falls, and they're both saved. Like, if they're in a situation like this, like, I just assume they're gonna be saved because this is a children's show. But meanwhile, Nathan and Daly are actually being useful, trying to catch a pig to eat instead of instigating teen drama and blackmailing everyone. But they actually don't end up killing it because they feel bad, which is like sweet. But in a survival situation and you don't have any food, they're like, oh, I feel bad. Jackson and Melissa end up talking because he finds out that she likes him, and he's like, I can call you like when we get back, but like we shouldn't do anything here. Like, we shouldn't have a relationship here. Let's just wait till we get back home. And I ship it. I really ship it at this point. and that's actually what they need as a ship. They like need an actual ship and not like my ship. Season 1, episode 9, Mazathon. This episode was one of my favorites because up till now has been like pretty serious, and each episode has been like about them just trying to survive with like a little bit of teen drama stuff. But this episode was just like a fun reprieve from that. So Nathan and Daly are making fun of Jackson for making a raft. They're like, are you gonna float out on that? Are you gonna float out on that? And they're like making fun of him for it, which is funny considering what happens later in this show, which is so funny. So they're making fun of him for this raft, and they're like, you think you're gonna float out on this? Like, okay. And Jackson is not having it. He says, don't dude me. They have beef too. Like Nathan is having beef with that coconut tree and Jackson.
Okay, mind your own business.
Dude, be cool.
Don't dude me.
This is the first time we really find anything else out about Jackson. He was living with a foster family back home, and he was new at school. Nathan is like using that information against him. He's like, we shouldn't trust him. Like he comes from like a bad part of town. Like we shouldn't trust him. Okay. Like I know you're Corbin Blue, but calm down a little bit. Lex makes this fun relay race for everyone, and Eric makes this on-the-nose survivor joke, which I think is funny.
Come on, it'll be fun! And where exactly is the fun part?
I know. Loser gets voted off the island.
And Nathan is just, he's being a baby this episode. Even though he is the one that like actually started it.
Why should I be the one to make peace? He started it.
So Lex planned this whole thing, and everyone's like, why did you plan this? And he's like, oh, I just wanted us to have like a fun day. And it turns out that it was Lex's birthday, and no one mentioned it. And his older step sibling was there, but guess who remembered his birthday? Jackson. And he made the raft as a gift for him so they can put a distress signal on it, or make some kind of distress signal with it and float it out. This is when I felt myself getting emotionally invested in this show and these people, and I was like, okay, I'm in it. Season 1, episode 10, 8 is enough. So it's day 8. Nathan and Eric find a note tied to a tree that says help. So they know they're not alone on the island. And so you're just assuming like, oh, well, it must be like the pilot or one of the other kids that went in the jungle like over a week ago. But they're like, no, it like could be like someone else here. Someone else lives here or something. And I'm like, it's probably one of those kiddos. Like, it's okay. Melissa and Daly, it's like we'll have one part of the episode that's like super serious. Like someone needs help. And then they're like, I wanted this necklace. Melissa and Daly are fighting over who gets to keep this necklace that they find. But it is a cute little necklace though. But Nathan and Eric end up finding who had been leaving the notes. It was Abby, who was one of their classmates. She's alive, but she's unconscious. So Abby comes to, and guess whose necklace it was? Abby. She's like, that's my necklace, girl. Like, get that off your neck. And she says, you won't believe what I've been through. So,
You're not gonna believe what I've been through.
I know she's been through a lot, but she's so dramatic. Abby is drama. It's been all fun and games until now. So this is episode 11, Abby normal. All of the guys are giving Abby attention, like as they would, because they're like, what happened to you? What happened in there? Melissa is like getting jealous. She's like, why are they giving her so much attention? Melissa, girl. And she confronts Jackson and Abby saying like, y'all are flirting. Like, why are y'all flirting? Stand up, Melissa, stand up. So Abby and Lex set up like this little dance party for the rest of the group. And of course the first one to want to dance is Nathan, because it's Corbin Blue. It's Corbin Blue, so he's gonna dance. If there's one thing Corbin Blue's gonna do, dance.
It's a dance. Let's dance.
So Nathan dances with Daly, and Jackson and Melissa dance together, which is so sweet. And Eric and Taylor. But the next day, they find out that Abby has left the group again. She goes back into the jungle. She leaves a note for them, and she's like, I'm going back to find the others, like I need to find the others. But I feel like it was more of her just being like, man, I don't fit in here, like y'all, I just don't fit in. So she's like, I'd rather risk my life in this jungle than like not fit in. Season 1, episode 12, Until Proven Guilty. This was another one of my favorites. So it's day 10. We get a POV of someone stealing everyone's video diaries, which is great, which have everyone's personal thoughts and confessions on them. So Nathan is like, oh, y'all better not watch my tape, because he admits that he has a thing for Daly, which we know. It was like a reveal, I guess, but like we could feel it. At this point, Eric's laugh, he has this specific laugh because he's just so smug to all these people, and just imagine this laugh times 10. That's what is in this television show. I think he took them, because who else would it be other than Eric? Daly and Nathan are really trying to figure out who took them. And there's this one scene where they have them like all lined up and they're eliminating people that they're like, it couldn't be them. And they have them disappear. It's a really cool scene. The stances, and they have a trial to determine whether Lex is guilty. So they have a feeling that it was Lex, and he's acting very guilty. He's acting really guilty. And it turns out that Lex did steal the tapes, which was a shock. But it was because he caught Eric, of course, watching one of Jackson's tapes, and it revealed a disturbing secret about Jackson. So he basically took the tapes to protect Jackson. This episode was like my favorite so far because I love like a mystery. It was basically like Knives Out in 20 minutes. Like it was basically Knives Out. The season finale, episode 13, From Scratch. We find out what Jackson said on his tape, which was that he really didn't want to be saved by anyone because his home life was so bad. They won't let him see his mom at home, and his foster home is not really a home to him. And someone got hurt the day before he left on this trip, and he might have to go back to juvie. Jackson runs off. Nathan is like, we need to go look for him. Eric is so annoying. He's like, you can't make me. You can't make me go look for him. That's literally what he sounds like. That's literally what he sounds.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. You can't make me.
And he calls him a lowlife. Like, I would leave too. I would pack up my things and go into the jungle. I don't blame him. Jackson runs away into the jungle and a storm is coming. And Lex has been trying to get the radio to work, and as he's walking away from the radio, someone's voice is over the radio, but of course no one's there. The antenna for the radio gets messed up, and Nathan's like, oh, I need to fix this. But there's a lightning storm, and Nathan's trying to fix this basically lightning rod, and he almost like actually dies.
I would have been cooked.
So Jackson comes back and he tells them the full story. So he went to his old neighborhood to tell his friends about this cool trip that he was going on because he was so excited for this trip. And they all thought he was bragging and thought he had changed. But one guy took up for him and a fight broke out and a knife was pulled. Like, hello? And he says like he didn't do anything, but the cops are looking for him. But there ends up being a tropical storm and everything is destroyed that they have, including the plane, which is completely swept away. So they have to start again from scratch. aka the title of the episode. Here we go, y'all. I'm gonna change the battery and then we're gonna get into season 2. Okay, so I had some chips and cheese dip and I'm ready for season 2. Episode 1, Look Who's Not Talking. So it's day 11 and we're picking up right where we left off. Nathan he's dying to tell Daly how he feels. And here's Eric's laugh again, just so you understand. It's now bleeding into season 2.
I'll only use it for 1/7 of the day. I promise.
Jackson resigns from his leadership position. He's like, I didn't want to do this in the first place. I don't want to do this anymore. Pick someone else. He was actually like a good leader because he was quiet and he was just that kind of rock for everyone. So I really feel like this is when it starts to go downhill, is when he is no longer the leader. Taylor in this whole episode, she's like not okay because what happened in the season finale the night before was so traumatic, and I think it just started to become really real for her, and this is where she kind of starts to change as a person. But Nathan, he gives this speech about how they all need to stick together, and it is giving, like, I hate saying this, it is giving Wildcats. What Team Wildcats?
But I have no doubt in my mind. Okay, we will be rescued. It might be soon, it might be longer, but we will be rescued.
Lex, kind of in secret, he planted a garden. He was like, oh, it should be ready in a couple months. And that's when they're like, oh, we might be here a while. That's actually so scary to think about, though. Like, having to plan for like months in advance in case you're not found. No. Season 2, episode 2, groundbreaking. So it's day 12. Daly is the leader now, which I think she's a good leader, but she's not just like a boss, she is bossy, which I think a lot of people don't really like when like someone is your boss or like the leader and they are bossy. They also only have one tent now, so they're having to build a shelter for the rest of them to sleep in, but now they're all sharing one tent. And Eric finds a box, like this metal box, and they go through each person and they're all daydreaming about what they hope will be in the box, which I thought was funny. One of them is daydreaming of a kitten, toothpaste, ice cream, mouthwash, but most of them fantasize there being toilet paper in there, which I thought was kind of silly goofy. Like, they're like, we want toilet paper. Like, that is the main thing that we would love. This episode was really good at having it come across, oh, they don't have these essential things. And the show hasn't really shown that until now, that like, oh, they can't brush their teeth and they like can't bathe, you know? So it's like simple things like that they're literally just daydreaming about and fantasizing about having. And I've actually been thinking about that a lot more since I saw this episode. I was like, wait, I have like shampoo, like we just have shampoo, you know, except for mascara, because these girlies, they have mascara on. But the box ends up having things from a soldier who was in World War II with a note to his parents that was really like actually sad, and it kind of lines up with how they're feeling there at the time. Season 2, episode 3, he said, she said, he said. Nathan is still, he will not give this up. He's still obsessing over telling Daly how he feels about her. Where's Eric when you need him? He can blackmail him too. Or just tell her, you know. Everyone thinks that there's something going on with them, but they think that they're plotting for like power together, like super survivor stuff. Except for Melissa, who knows, because she's actually sweet and nice and is not gonna go tell everyone. Actually, that's not true. He's about to confess. Okay. I start hearing this song playing in the background. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard this song before. It's Corbin Bleu singing. There's a Corbin Bleu song in Flight 29 Down.
Hey, Daly?
Yeah?
No, never mind.
I've been up and down this road before, running in circles.
this was bound to happen. Like, this was fate. There has to be a Corbin Bleu song in a Corbin Bleu piece of media. Taylor thinks that Nathan likes Melissa because he's confiding in her about it. It's like getting all mixed up. But Melissa actually ends up telling everyone, which I really don't blame her for, because she was literally being backed into a corner and she was being forced to lie to everyone, and everyone thought like something bad was happening, so she was like, I'm just gonna tell y'all. Season 2, episode 4, The Uninvited. So it's day 14, so she knows. So Daly knows, but they still haven't like talked. But Nathan, he is still whipped, if you will.
The next move is mine. I'm pretty much clueless.
Hey.
And there's a giant lizard making a nest in their tent. We don't care about that. We care about Nathan. And this is really like the only wild animal they've encountered since the pig incident. But it's like a huge lizard. I'm sure it has another name, but they just call it a big lizard. And Eric, part 584 of Eric just grinding my gears. He hides the lighter for the fire, their only source of fire, because that none of them know how to make a fire. So this is all they have right now. He hides the lighter so they can't boil the water, so he doesn't have to lug the water. So you're gonna cause everyone to dehydrate just because you don't want to move some water back and forth. And then, to make it even better, the lighter ends up breaking. So that's really awesome and nice. We love Eric. They have the patience of a saint with this young man. But as a punishment, they're actually like, okay, we're gonna punish him for this, which, okay. Like, good, you know? He has to get the lizard out of the tent, which it's Melissa's suggestion. She knows that he has a pet iguana at home, so he's not afraid of lizards. So it wasn't even really a punishment, because he just goes in there and he grabs it and puts it down. So, of course, Eric never learns his lesson. Season 2, episode 5, The Tide. The tide has washed the plane back to shore, and we finally get that sweet, sweet moment from Nathan where he says, we all know what a load you are. He ate, but they won't if they don't get this fire fixed.
This isn't fair. It's over, Eric. Okay, we all know what a load you are.
Nathan gets his legs trapped under the plane, and Eric's with him. During this moment, Jackson and Taylor, okay, have this like sweet moment together. And this is where I started to be like, wait, are we getting a love triangle? If you ask me what my favorite shape is, it's a triangle. Taylor misses her dad and he would always take her fishing, like I said. So they're like actually talking about that stuff together, and we haven't gotten a moment like that with Melissa and Jackson. And I'm like, wait, but I ship Melissa and Jackson. So at this point I'm like, I don't know, but we're seeing something stirring up over here, and it's not the tide. So Nathan is of course saved by them pushing the plane off of him. Season 2, episode 6, Where There's Smoke. They end up fixing the lighter, but then Taylor uses up all of the lighter fluid to light candles that they made, and they don't know how to make a fire. She also ends up messing up their solar panel, which charges all their flashlights, the video camera, which are equally important. So this was a jarring moment. I didn't really remember specific moments from this show from when I watched it as a kid, but this moment, I was brought back to hearing this for the first time, because this is just something you cannot forget. Jackson gives us the performance of a lifetime with his guitar and a song that he wrote, and he's singing it to Taylor. If I were her, I'd be like, you know.
I'm a stranger in a strange land. I'm a million miles from my
Did you write that?
And the accent, like, I specifically remember this accent and I was like, is he British now? Like, hey. But Taylor actually ends up getting the fire started because she knows how to play the cello. It's a long story. So they start moving the plane up off of the shore to use for shelter. Season 2, episode 7, Home Sweet Home. So they're still trying to move this plane and Nathan gets cut like pretty badly. He has beef with this plane. He has beef with the trees. And Lex, he's kind of getting an attitude. Like, he's kind of sassy this episode, but I love it really because they take advantage of his smarts.
See? Now we're getting hurt doing this. Nobody listens to me.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
And Eric has been taking stuff from the camp because he wants to run away and explore the west side of the island. I mean, we've kind of seen this throughout the show, but especially now, like, he is wanting to get off. He thinks they're all getting too comfortable, which this is one thing that I really do actually agree with Eric on. Like, they're trying to survive, or they're trying too much to make it like a home instead of like trying to get off or trying to be prepared for if there's someone there to save them. So they actually end up pulling the plane up off of the shore, which was actually a pretty epic moment. That was one of the probably 2 moments that I really remember from the show, because I was like, what is this children's show? Like, what is this? So it's their home sweet home. They're gonna live in the plane now. Season 2, episode 8, Chilloween. Taylor sets up this holiday for them and she calls it Chilloween, where they don't do any work all day, and she wants them all to get each other gifts and they have this feast. Nathan keeps like mispronouncing it and stuff like that just makes me giggle. He's like Chillyween, chill out-a-ween. Nathan makes Daly a bracelet.
With any luck, Chillyween will turn out to be special too.
He's so cute. It's so cute. He is like whipped for this girl. So he goes to give it to her and she basically insults him to his face, saying she could never be with someone like that. So he throws his bracelet in the ocean in a dramatic fashion. It was really sad to see. Like, she broke his spirit. So it's the Chilloween celebration and they are actually chilling, and we hear Natasha Bedingfield. Not just any Natasha Bedingfield song. We're hearing...
Good, huh? Pretty festive?
Taylor is actually so excited for this. She's trying to make everyone feel better, and it's actually really sweet. Taylor in this season versus last season is like night and day, and Jackson keeps on giving. He gives us another show-stopping performance, this time with auto-tune, which I don't know how they have those capabilities on a deserted island, but it's there. But it's still gorgeous.
It's just another morning glory. Oh, one more twist inside of this wild ride. Another chapter in the story.
Melissa sees it. She sees it. She has that sixth sense that the girlies have. She sees something between Taylor and Jackson. And we also find out that Daly, she really does like Nathan, but she pushed him away. So she said all that to him, but she likes him, which is actually super realistic to me. Like, we've all been there, insulting a man that we are in love with to their face. Like, we've all been there. Am I right, girls? Season 2, episode 9, Regrets. So it's day 19. Jackson is sick. Like, super sick. He's really good at acting being sick, because there were a couple moments and I'm like, are you okay? Like, are you all right?
I'm losing it.
This episode, we get the first flashbacks to them at school. We have not seen them in a setting other than this deserted island yet. So this was like really exciting for me. So we flash back and Nathan is running against Daly for class president, of course. And Taylor and Nathan are dating too. And we also see Melissa sees Jackson for the first time. It's like his first day at school. And it's love at first sight for this girl. She sees him and she says, whoa. Like, whoa. Like, who is that?
Whoa. Who's that?
And of course, Eric was bullying Jackson at school. So Jackson is sick. We don't really know what's wrong, but we know he has gas. And we know Melissa really loves him if she is sitting by him and talking about his gas and giggling. Like, we know that girl is in love.
It's probably just gas.
Great. That's just what I want everybody talking about, Jackson's gas.
And Melissa starts saying things like, this is all my fault, this is all my fault. And I'm like, what does that mean? Melissa was the one that asked Jackson to go on this trip with them. She was the one that was like pushing him to go on this trip. So she feels like it's her fault that she put him in this situation. They actually decided to sponsor him to go on this trip because he didn't have enough money to go. So they used the money that they earned to sponsor Jackson instead of getting one large plane and spending the money on like a nicer large plane. So there is another plane that apparently made it to the destination, but they didn't make it to the destination. So that's also crazy. Like, if Jackson hadn't been on this trip, then she feels like they would have like made it. This is crazy. But Jackson is sick because he drank contaminated like unboiled water. He was just like, I was thirsty. Okay, maybe he shouldn't be the leader. Like, hello. Season 2, episode 10, The Drift. So it's day 20. Eric finds a sign type thing that says Guam on it. So he sees this and he's like, okay, we can build a raft and float over to Guam. So they were like, okay, we're gonna test out this raft. We're gonna see which way the current takes us and we'll just come back and we'll just test it out real quick. They vote for Daly and Nathan to test out this raft. This was one of the worst decisions they made on this entire show. This is the worst decision they have made. And I'm wondering, how do you test out a raft exactly? How do you test out a current and come back? Like, if a current takes you somewhere, it's gonna be so hard to get back fighting that current. Anyway, they didn't speak about this in the show. So now it's day 21. It's 3 weeks after the crash. So they float out in the current and they're like, oh, it's going the right direction. Like, this is good. Then I guess this is when they realize, oh, we have to fight against this current to get back. I love like the dichotomy, is that the right word, between like them like actually trying to survive versus this other side where we're seeing like Taylor and Jackson just being like this is where I'm like, okay, I think Jackson really likes Taylor, as much as I hated to admit it at this point, because I'm usually biased with love triangles. The first couple that I see, I'm usually like, okay, they're end game. And then when someone else comes into the picture, it's hard for me to like be on board with them together. They have more chemistry than Jackson and Melissa, I think. Like, they actually have a lot of chemistry. And he's just like, you can tell that he's like more excited about Taylor. Melissa sees Taylor with her head on Jackson's shoulder, and of course she is steaming. Oh yeah, and the raft broke and they had to swim back. But they make it back to shore and they hug, and it's like a really sweet moment between Daly and Nathan. I thought they were gonna kiss at this point. I thought they were gonna kiss, but there was no kiss. But she does end up kissing him on the cheek later. She kisses him on the cheek. No. And he's like he's on cloud 9 at this point. Season 2, episode 11, Good Luck Abby. So we get another flashback now, but this time we are getting Abby's POV, the girl that ran away earlier. But they go back to the main characters on the shore, and this is like the difference between what they're going through. They're like, the biggest challenge isn't about how to survive anymore. It's about how to juggle all the personal conflicts. And when they said that, I was like, oh no, y'all. Like, hello? This is how you know their frontal lobes have not developed. And that's really basically season 1 versus 2 in a nutshell. Season 1 of this show was really like all about how they were surviving and like different things they had to go through, but this second season is a lot about like the personal conflicts and stuff like that, which I love, of course. And I'm glad that they did that, because if they had kept going with like just the survival stuff and not much more to it, then it probably would have gotten boring. Nathan, he's getting brave now. Like, Nathan is like, he's winking at her, he's touching on the shoulder.
Perfect. Nice job.
And Jackson is going overboard to help Taylor. Like, you can tell, like, it's not said, but Jackson is like way more into Taylor than Melissa. But Melissa is like super available, so he may not like that really, that she's like obsessed with this young man. But Lex is the only one who's like getting down to business, and he's like, where are the other people? Like, they said that they would be back like 3 weeks ago. Why are we not concerned with this? Like, why are we concerned about, why is Nathan over here winking? Like, what's happening? And Lex is like, maybe we should go try to find them. And Nathan just, he's being corny now. Nathan is being corny. Him putting his head up the window. Like, I'm not saying that Corbin Blue's giving me the ick, but like, it kind of is at this point.
Hey.
Daly sees that he's doing a little bit too much, so she like basically friend zones him to his face, but she still likes him. Like, she's still like, oh, I actually really like him, but I'm just like insulting him to his face. Like, it's whatever. And Melissa, she is jealous. She's so jealous. But I do kind of blame Jackson. Jackson is not innocent in all of this, because I feel like he should talk to Melissa, because he knows how much she likes him, and he's just beating around the bush. I think he needs to just talk to her and be like, I like her. He's too busy. So we go back to Abby. She's going through it. She is in the jungle. She finds her gear from when she got lost the first time. She ends up getting knocked down by a rock slide and punctured through her arm. Like, there's a twig like going, you see it go through her arm and stick out the other side. I'm like, this is a Y7 show. And she hurts her ankle, like breaks her ankle or something. She's eating bugs. She's like in full survival mode. Like, her experience versus the rest of them is like so different at this point. But her standing up, that was everything. Like, that was a major girl boss moment. But then, like, then back on the shore, they're like, they say, compared to all the drama, survival is a piece of cake. Like, okay, why don't you tell Abby that? She shows up. But at the same time, she chose to go in the jungle, so she doesn't need to hate on my Flight 29 down girls, because they're my girls now. Season 2, episode 12, One Breath Away. So Abby isn't the same person who left the camp 2 weeks ago. So she's been gone 2 weeks. She was a sweet girl. They said that she was really sweet, but now she's like hard and like almost mean to all of them. Lex found a chicken. He somehow knows that they're not native to that area, so someone must have brought it from somewhere else. So they're like, someone's here. Someone's been here at least. So they're still trying to talk to Abby, and they're like, how was it? Like, how bad was it? And she's like, a lot worse than hanging around here at the resort. They're all trying to survive like you, okay? You didn't have to go into the jungle by yourself. This is where Jackson is giving red flags. I hate to say it, I love the dark, mysterious, brooding, quiet type. But he has some red flags. I really do feel bad for Melissa in this situation. So she like confronts him about it and she's like, is there something going on with you two? And he's like, no, like he's not giving any answers. He's being a guy, you know. He says stuff to Melissa. Melissa, girl, you deserve better. I'm sorry. He tells Melissa things like, you're like a security blanket for me. Okay. Nothing matters from minute to minute. Like, does it really matter, like, what happens? Like, we're just all trying to make our way through, like, you know. And he says, I do like you. That's when I feel like he should have gotten just a little slap. I'm not saying violence, but just a little slap. So the hen, we figure out it's a hen, lays an egg, and Abby takes that egg and eats it. And that was the only egg. So she's like, we're each on our own, y'all. But that's not helping her make friends here anytime soon. Eric and Abby, they both want to get off the island. They're both like, we need to get out of here. And so they make an alliance, and Abby wants to kill the chicken, but Jackson says no. This is where he draws the line. This is where he gives a straightforward answer about this chicken.
Just stay away from the chicken.
So here we are, season 2, episode 13. See ya. See ya. Season 2 finale. It's day 23. The girls are fighting Taylor and Melissa, to be exact. I don't think Taylor really did anything wrong. I mean, she knows that Melissa likes him, but she's not really doing anything to... He seems more into Taylor than she's into him. I don't know. She was just kind of like confided in him a few times. And Melissa, of course, this is what happens. Melissa gets mad at Taylor and she says, you're a selfish, devious person. Girls, don't let a boy get between you. At this point, half of the group wants to wait for a rescue to come, and the other half wants to go search the island more. I would probably be in the first group. I would just wait because I would worry if I like went into the jungle. I would worry more about what if something came by and I wasn't there. Abby, of course, still so drama.
Did I scare you?
We're not in a horror movie, Abby. Nathan thinks that Eric killed the chicken because of course he probably would. I don't blame Nathan for thinking he did. So there's like a fight. He like tackles him. This is the first legit fight we see. But the chicken was not killed, of course, because they're not killing any animals in the show. This part meant so much to me. So they're all split in half. Like half of them want to do one thing and half of them want to do the other thing. This song starts playing. I'm like, what song could this possibly be? Everybody's changing.
Everybody's changing and I don't know.
Now, I don't know if you understand how much this means to me that this song was playing. This is one of my favorite songs of all time, especially recently, because I've related to it so much. It's basically, this is at least how I interpret it. The song's kind of about like how everybody around you is changing, but you feel like you're kind of behind, or you feel like people are changing around you, but you're kind of staying the same. You don't understand how much, like, I had full body chills. And this song is playing as they're playing a montage of the entire show. So it's day 24. Abby, Eric, Jackson, and Melissa. Melissa joined them because Jackson was going. We know, girl. Go get your man, girl. Okay, I won't stop you. They decide to take charge and leave the group, so they split up. They go off to look for civilization, while Daly, Nathan, Lex, and Taylor all stay put. This part was so dramatic. Like, it was so good though. It's an emotional moment. They're all saying bye to each other because they really don't know if they'll see each other again. Like, they could very well be going off to die if this wasn't a Discovery Kids show. Jackson, he may be a walking red flag, but he does have some good one-liners.
See you soon. But if not, we'll see you later.
And then it says to be continued. Okay. So we're at season 3, episode 1. This was named a 4-part movie, but it's 4 episodes. So the movie is called Hotel Tango. The finale, the show's finale. Welcome to the finale. This is supposed to be picking up exactly where they left off. But not to take anyone out of the fantasy, but Corbin Bloom now has a 5 o'clock shadow. Like, a noticeable 5 o'clock shadow. And Daly has cut a bob. Slash.
Whoa, hair.
Meanwhile, the other group that has left, they're having like a little too much fun. Like, they've been gone for like a few hours probably. And they're like taking their water bottles and throwing it across the beach and just like on the beach. I'm like, y'all are going into the belly of the beast and y'all are like, let's throw around our water bottles even though we don't have any way to survive. And Lex actually runs off to join the others because he thinks that they were right. He thinks the others were right. This is where he wasn't smart. I would not have gone. But they find him and bring him back before he gets too far. It's like your typical like run away from home moment, but it's like on a deserted island. The moment we've all been waiting for. Taylor is sitting on the beach and she sees a ship. I have chills. She sees a ship. And her reaction was so realistic too. She's like, they did not prepare for what to do when they see a ship. Season 3, episode 2. So they were not prepared for what to do when the ship went by. So it just goes by, nothing happens. Lex is like, we shouldn't have moved that plane. Because they could have seen the plane. Now it's day 25. Nathan makes a huge SOS sign out of like branches and stuff. The next time a ship comes by, he's gonna burn it so they can see the SOS. Now it's day 26. We're with the others. Eric gets caught out in a riptide. And they said earlier in the show, I didn't mention this, but he's not a very good swimmer. So he's out in the ocean. He gets caught out in a riptide. Melissa saves him again. They get on the shore. He's like he almost dies. And he says, "What took you so long?" And she says, "You're on your own, Queen." She's over it. Back with the others where Nathan made the SOS and everything. Daly is sitting by the water and she sees a ship too. She lights up that SOS. So she runs. She's like, I see a ship. She runs and she lights up that SOS with the last of the fuel from the plane. It turns out that it was just a whale. And she just used up the last of the fuel to light the SOS. Some of these decisions, like, you can't keep getting away with this, is what I'm thinking. The others find an abandoned building. A building. And lots of chicken. That's the real mystery. We found the chickens. Season 3, episode 3. They're not alone. They find Captain Russell, who was the captain of the plane that crashed. And he has gone mad. He's like actually terrifying.
Welcome to the Hotel Tango.
They say something about malaria and that he hit his head, but he's like not okay. They find Jory too, who we saw this person for like half a second. So she's one of the ones that went off with the captain. And so we go back to the SOS situation. So they're like, we need to find another way to signal if something comes by. So Lex makes a flashing light from one of the lights on the plane, and he has it shine out toward the sea at night, and it flashes a light. And then we go back to the building. They find Ian too, who is another kid. Not main character moment for him, but this is his main character moment. He's not doing too well. He's like sick, and he has a broken leg. Like, he's not okay. I think he's doing the worst out of all of them. Like, he cannot stand up. So Captain Russell has this boat that he's gonna take out, and they try to steal this boat from him, but they accidentally set it on fire. The amount of things that have accidentally been set on fire. And Eric's like, man, can anything else go wrong? No, sir, I don't think it can. I don't think it can, but we have one episode left, so we gotta wrap this up quick. Season 3, episode 4, the series finale. So we hear Eric, he says, man, can anything else go wrong? The cut.
Man, can anything else go wrong?
This is gonna get ugly.
So we cut to the Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. Typhoon Melissa is coming toward them. The fact that they named it Typhoon Melissa is crazy to me. Like, why did they name it after Melissa cannot catch a break. My girl Melissa. So it's day 27. So the others, they have had all this stuff go wrong, like the boat burned down, like this man is crazy that's chasing them, the Captain Russell or whatever, like they think he's gonna like harm them. So they're like, okay, let's just go back to the plane. We've got to take Ian there because he is actually passing away right now. So we're gonna take him back and get him help. So they all actually come back. Daly decides to move the flashing light that Lex had made to shine out toward the ocean, and she moves it to face upward to shine out toward the sky, so a satellite or something might see it. It's day 28. A weather recon plane, I definitely know what that is, caught the light. Okay. They're like, oh, it's at HT 440 Island Supply Base from World War II or something. So this was a supply base in World War II, because we talked about like the box that was left there from World War II. So they're like, there's no one there right now.
Looks like some sort of intermittent light.
But it's deserted.
HT, Hotel Tango. Looks like somebody checked in.
And that was the building that they found. Oh my goodness. A plane finds them. They get saved. Yep. And I definitely did not cry. Like, I didn't cry. I was not emotional in the slightest. I was not really emotionally invested in these characters, and I did not tear up. I'm not crying watching a kid's show. No, no, no. And of course, the first thing that Eric thinks is, who's gonna play me in the movie? Which, honestly, I get that. I would think that too, honestly. I'd be like, so who's making the documentary? Is it gonna be Netflix or Hulu? And the biggest jaw-dropping twist of them all. Are you ready for this? Jackson's real name is Cody. Why? Melissa and Cody have their little moment, and Melissa says, "I'll be there for you, Cody Jackson." And they have this sweet hug, but Jackson is looking over at Taylor. And he's like, that's the last we see of this. It's left up in the air. My guess is that he probably ends up dating Taylor when they get back home, and Melissa is just absolutely heartbroken. Before they go off the island, they're taking their own sweet time getting off this island. They all bury their video diaries in the sand and leave them there. You could sell those. You could just keep it. I think they say something like, "This way this island will have a piece of us forever," or something like that. I'm like, oh. So they all go home, and then the camera pans over the plane and it says, "See ya." They wrote "see ya" on the plane. Ow. So true. They said "see ya." So that was the show. I thought the ending was good. I don't know. I guess I was expecting like something more dramatic to happen, but they just like kind of show up and they're like, "All right, give us about 3 hours before we leave, okay?" Like, some of them were like, "I kind of don't want to go," which kind of makes sense. Did I scare you?